Like, if you were trying to destroy America and everything that it stands for, would you do anything differently than what this administration is doing?
Well, what you heard from the president today was a clear articulation of the stakes. This is about the future of the liberal world order, and we have to stand firm.
This morning, new inflation numbers confirming the struggle facing millions of Americans.
A clear articulation.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping, traveling with him. I actually traveled 17,000 miles when I was vice president. I don't know that for a fact.
A clear articulation of the stakes.
Grocery staples nearly all on a steady rise. A gallon of milk up 50 cents, a dozen eggs up 40 cents, and bacon spiking more than $1.30 over the last year.
This is about the future of the liberal world order.
The surge of illegal crossings at the southern border is showing no sign of slowing down. In May, according to the most recent numbers, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported nearly 240,000 encounters, mostly in Texas, an all-time high.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID.
And when people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
Dr. Fauci says he has COVID again.
If you've done the right thing and gotten vaccinated, you deserve the freedom to be safe from COVID-19. And this morning, I learned I tested positive for COVID-19 as well.
This is about the future of the liberal world order.
Well, equity as a concept says recognize that everyone has the same capacity, but in order for them to have equal opportunity to reach that capacity, we must pay attention to this issue of equity if we are to expect and allow people to compete on equal footing.
Separate two eggs.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1, we passed a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice.
This is about the future of the liberal world order.
White supremacy is a poison. It's a poison running through it. It really is.
In the FBI's view, the top domestic violent extremist threat comes from racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, specifically those who advocated for the superiority of the white race.
Told me to come out today and to bring you on your knees because you have white privilege. So if they see that a white person is getting on their knees, that shows solidarity for the situation. And could you just please apologize for your white privilege? Just apologize.
I am. I'm trying to think of the right words to say because that's a big thing to say.
It's big.
It comes from.
It's large in this country.
I'm incredible.
And in today's news, let's talk about this white privilege.
I'm about to stir up the pot. I'm gonna talk about what they don't want me to say. This division of races is spit in the face of America. Look at how far it came. Oh, what a shame. How does the media fill us with hate? How do you feel like it's racist for someone to say that they're keeping America great?
Now, let's talk about this white privilege. I'll make it clear so that y'all get this. I ain't never had an opportunity in life that was given base with the tone of my skin is. You ain't impressed? Look at what year it is. There ain't no talking to you. You ain't hearing this. He just a cracker who walk around talking this shit. He politically wrong and he's arrogant, right? Fist in the air, black pride, that's great. But if I do the same for my race, that's hate.
It was rather absurd when Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, lectured this House on freedom, democracy and the rule of law, considering the quasi-totalitarian regime he runs in Canada. Unvaccinated Canadians are not allowed to board an airplane to leave the country. While unvaccinated passengers pose no risk to anyone, the vaccinated pilots, however, might. This vaccine may have actually rendered them unfit to fly. What a shocker. But aside from that, countries which deny their own citizens to leave the country do so because they are a dictatorship. Why is EU Parliament not all over Trudeau, calling him out on these violations of human rights? Oh, wait. Since the EU Parliament is completely in line with the globalists' sick, brave new world agenda, it only calls out on governments which actually respect freedom, democracy, and the rule of law.
For nations who are partners and allies, we must together work together to see where we are headed, where we are going, and our vision for where we should be, but also see it as a moment, yes, to together address the challenges and to work on the opportunities that are presented by this moment.
It's hard to think the unthinkable, but there comes a time when there's nothing else for it. People raised to trust the powers that be, who have assumed, like I once did, that the state, regardless of its political flavour at any given moment, is essentially benevolent and well-meaning, will naturally try and keep that assumption of benevolence in mind when trying to make sense of what's going on around them. People like us, you and me, raised in the understanding that we are free, that we have inalienable rights, and that the institutions of this country have our best interests at heart, will tend to tie ourselves in knots rather than contemplate the idea those authorities might actually be working against us now. I took that thought of benevolent, well-meaning authority for granted for most of my life. God help me. Not to put too fine a point on it, I was as gullible as the next chump. A couple of years ago, however, I began to think the unthinkable. And with every passing day, it becomes more and more obvious to me that we are no longer being treated as individuals entitled to try and make the most of our lives, but as a barn full of battery hens, just another product to be bought and sold down the river.